Hey guys. Oh, just getting my lighting sorted. Hiya. How you guys doing? My name is Miss Nabia and welcome to my channel. Usually I cover first 48 bit of real crime. I love real crime, so today I wanted to just take a little bit of a different angle, not do a docu-series, but talk about actually a real case that happened. I mean, you've seen the title. Like, share and subscribe, by the way. I'd appreciate the support, so thank you guys for coming. Hi everybody. Hi Leslie. Hi Heidi. Hi Dory. Crazy Lucian, thanks for coming. So yeah, I mean, you looked at the title. A baby died. The exact details to this case are just, I mean, I didn't even want to put it all in the title. Let me just pull up my notes. But it was just awful. I mean, this girl basically was out here partying, trying to be some sort of internet influencer on Instagram, as they are, pretending like they're living some high life out here, going to different places, all in all, while trying to raise this child. Now, I wanted to have basically an open discussion kind of about this. You guys can chime in. I'm going to drop the link quite quickly today. But I'll just give you a little bit of a recap kind of the actual case. Now, this girl's name is Verfi Kudi. She's a influencer on Instagram, wannabe, people say. But she has basically admitted causing the death of her 20-month-old baby girl, Asiah, in Brighton, in England. Now, this girl is 19 years old, has no fixed address, apparently. She pleaded guilty in the court, right? And yeah, so am I, Diali. This is why I wanted to talk about it today, because I thought, you know what? We talk about all these different documentaries and stuff like this, but I want to start covering these little topics. You know what I mean? It'd be good for us to have open discussions about it. I'm sure a lot of you have things to say and, are just going to be disgusted, really. I know these things happen all the time, but still, it's worth talking about, So anyway, her daughter, apparently, Asiah Kudi, died at the address where they were living in December 2019. But the reason I'm talking about it now is the case had only just gone to court the other week, right? So she's now pleaded guilty to manslaughter and held her hands up and said she's caused the death of her child. But when you hear the details now, it's just awful. It comes, they come to find out that this child had been left, get ready for this, left in their home. She left this child in the home for 6 days, with nothing, on her own. 20-month-old baby girl on her own for 6 days while she was out here celebrating her 18th birthday at the time. So she's going here from London to Birmingham to different places to Coventry. She's out here partying and not, even thinking about her child in the background. 6 days. This child, sorry, am I shouting? Sorry, guys. This really got me annoyed. Let me just turn down my volume because I don't want to be sounding like I'm loud. Do you guys still hear me all right? I'm sure you do because I'm loud enough. So, yeah, I mean, the judge was just disgusted. They said basically they want to obtain a report and that the doctor was going to see her. These things were all apparently happening, as this, because remember, a 19-year-old doesn't just leave a child on her own for six days. She must have done it before. So this girl was clearly being probably, watched by social services. I mean, they say they related to cases that was set apparently to be seen in court. This was a distressing case. This little girl's death at the property, right, was investigated by the major crime unit in Sussex. So this is in close to London, around just outside of London. And they're saying that, you know, it was really awful for them to investigate this because it caused them so much sadness and stuff. And then you had, the funny thing is, you know, she obviously pleads guilty and whatnot, but then you had another video that came out online where the sister, right, it's still on YouTube actually, let me have a quick look, where the sister is like talking about, I'll drop the link as well since I'm at it, where the sister is kind of talking about the fact that she had family support and that the baby girl had family support. It is just full of BS, basically. See, it's a 23-minute long video. Here goes my bloody funny lights. It's a 23-minute video on YouTube, guys. You can look it up under the name Verfi Cootie. I've got it as a hashtag on my video, so you just have a look. But yeah, this case is just disgusting. I mean, apparently 3 days, what the police is trying to find out, they still can't seem to find out whether this girl was selling concert tickets while she was out and about and her child was still in the house on her own. They were trying to figure out whether she was out here still communicating with people on Instagram and on Twitter, selling tickets. Like, it was just crazy. This girl actually left her child to starve. They found out, the post-mortem, the coroner find out that basically this child starved to death from starvation, ended up neglect, starvation, ended up having a fever, right? Obviously needed looking after within those 6 days, and obviously distress, all those things combined, you know, unfortunately killed this child, and all she gets is a prison sentence. Now, people like that, this is the difficult discussion. Like, it's a sensitive subject, but I'm going to go straight in because I have my own opinion. I have a child. Now, I could never imagine 6 days. Like this one lady said, I think in the comments that I read under one of the videos, 6 minutes you wouldn't leave a 20-month-old because you can't turn around and they've got something wrong in their mouth. You can't turn around and they've got their hand in an electric socket if you're not careful. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're always up to something. They're only young. They've just started learning how to walk. You know what I mean? That's just over a year and a half years old, coming up to 2. That is just unbelievable. The fact that I'll just bring up Leslie.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I had to wait. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just
your sound is really bad. What's going on?
I'm so sorry. This new computer, it's crazy. Is it okay now?
A little bit better.
You know what? I'm going to log out and then I'm going to sign on from my phone.
Okay, cool. Okay. See you in a bit. All right, bye. But yeah, I mean, it's just cruel on all levels. Come on, Diali. I know you heard about this, so come on.
I just, you see, I read it, and I'm in shock.
Yeah,
I'm in shock. But I kind of think this is a situation. Yeah, she had the support, but you know, when you've got a young child.
No, they say she had the support, but where were they?
She had the support.
Where was my sister? Actually, let you finish.
Yeah, I know you're hot about this, but you have to think, Miss Nabia, you're a mature young woman. You know, when we had our children, we were mature young women, and I made some terrible blunders. You know, I've ran to the shop and, you know, been out for, you know, whatever, even though the shop's probably across the road or whatever.
Yeah.
But we have made blunders. We all have, you know, but I wouldn't party for 6 days with a baby. You know, I'd sit down there a bit peed off that I can't, you know, go to the party or whatever, but I'm not leaving the baby. And you have to also think, even though they say she had the support, they probably were sick to death of her, you know, palming off the child on family. They were sick of it. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. I can't believe in these times that has happened. I can't believe it. I actually can't believe it. Hi, Leslie.
Hi. She said it in that video.
Oh, that sounds better.
You don't know the half of it. You don't know the half of it. And I'm just like, does it matter? The baby's still gone.
Like, Hi, Didi. Thanks for coming.
Hey.
Yeah. I mean, this girl was all over the internet. She was out here applying to be a pretty little thing model. She was out here trying a thing. Like, she was out here trying to live her life to the fullest, when really, taking very little responsibility for this child, this innocent child that, depended on her to look after her. How do you leave your own flesh and blood in a property for 6 days? 6 days?
Because everybody wants to be a YouTube star. Everybody wants to be the hot gal.
Again,
and the fact of it, Miss Nabia, you've got a family where you would get 2 lick under your backside if you thought you were going to go and leave a baby out a door.
Yes.
And my mum wouldn't allow that. As much as I, can run my mouth or whatever, the thing is, you cannot leave a baby unattended for 6 days. You cannot. No. Even if it was for half an hour, something bad could have happened.
And then she came home and then decided, 6 days later, by the way, came home and then waited a while before she dialed 999 to tell them that her child isn't waking up.
Yeah,
what did you expect?
She knew. No, Miss Nabir, I tell you something. This wasn't the first time she's done it.
That's what
Come on, Didi, chime in.
Yeah, well, you see, when those situations happen, time and time again, I see documentaries on that. Yeah. And it's just sad that the family members, I'm not blaming them, but it's just sad that sometimes the family members don't step in, because sometimes I think the family members know what type of person like their daughter or their son is, and they know they're not somebody that can be reliant. And maybe sometimes I think the family members maybe to step in a situation like that. But it's really sad that you would have a child and you would want to party so much and allow the child to die, or you wanting to just be like Ali said, a YouTube star or TikTok star or some kind of star. You want to be in the limelight, you want to party, but then a lot of those people make children. Well, not a lot. Some of them make kids and they're just not ready for a child. But I think the family needs to step in sometimes and at least see if they can assist them or take the child from her or something.
But they should have took. I mean, a lot of the time, listen, I work in a homeless place where people come all the time and they are either have domestic violence past, whatever type of past, deal with social services in the present. And a lot of the time you find that social services doesn't just come and take children off people that actually don't want them. I've seen plenty of neglected children. They don't come and run and take them, but they'll be quick to take my child, the one that's actually loved and looked after, if I made a mistake. You find that a lot, that they take kids from the system kind of works against you in a way, because you see neglected kids everywhere and nothing's done about it. But as soon as you are found to make a mistake, you'll find yourself fighting for your children. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, Didi. I'm sorry. What was you going to say?
No, I was just saying, because most times with this kind of cases, it's always when the child die. That's what I don't like about this type of cases.
All the time.
It's always when the child die, that's when you're saying, this one saying, oh, I knew this, or that one saying, oh, I knew that. So all the time, sometimes they know what's going on and they don't step in until the child loses his life or her life.
Or even the family members. Why does the sister feel the need to do a video online talking about, oh, my sister didn't neglect her child and the child did have support? And where were you? Where were you when she's leaving this child 6 days at a time? Where were you as a sister?
The police in the hospital are not going to make up the fact that this child starved to death. This child had the flu. She contracted the flu and she was left for 6 days. They're not going to make that up just to get somebody into trouble. Now, the thing that we all have to bear in mind, she was also a child looking after a child. This is a big thing. She didn't have the support. Yeah, she lived in supported housing. She probably had, a proper, a really nice place where she was living. It was clean. It was well maintained. But she didn't have an adult there to say, this is not how you look after a baby. Now, my mum went through this with one of my nieces. And she was a young adult and she was a young a-hole as well, because she didn't want to be told how to raise a child. And the child was constantly at risk, at risk. But these young people, they just want to be YouTube stars. They want to continue. When she was having this child and doing all kinds of things, she didn't want to be told. I'm absolutely certain someone out there would have said to her, don't do this. She would have had a parent somewhere along the way that would have said, no, don't let nobody use you for this. Don't let nobody use you for that. Next minute, she's pregnant. She's a child having a child. She's a child. You know, she never had the support.
But still, that doesn't excuse it. Like,
It doesn't excuse it, Nabs. It doesn't excuse it,
because
but it's there.
Listen, if I am not doing it right, I should hope either my brother, my sister, my mother, anybody should be able to step in and say, hold on, no, this is not right. This child deserves a better quality of life. Do you understand what I'm saying? I should hope so, or even a friend, somebody. But a lot of the time, we know what's going on. Listen, let me tell you, we know what's going on. We would be the friend, not me personally, but us women, right? We would be the friend of that girl who we know she just dashed her child over there so she can go clubbing with us. We've all known them. Do you understand what I'm saying?
But Miss Nabia,
I'm sure we've all known a few. So in that sense, aren't we all a little bit guilty of sometimes, you know, minding our own business, even though we know somebody might be neglecting their child?
Miss Nabia, I see this, you know, we've all, look, whether or not you've birthed a child or not, you've been around family members, you've got nieces, nephews. If you see something is wrong, you need to speak on it. Because this is going to be a thing that's going to happen every day of the year. There's going to be another horror story. Because nobody wants to get involved. Nobody wants to say anything. And the signs were there with this child. This girl was hot in the ass. She wanted to party and be YouTube star. I wouldn't be surprised if she was out there selling tickets and drinking cognac. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, she was. Apparently 9 in the morning that day when she called the 999, you know, the police, the ambulance in the morning, she was on her phone tweeting tickets for Drake's concert or something.
There you go.
So, yeah, selling tickets on Twitter. So, but the police wasn't sure whether she was at the property already at the time of her tweeting at 9:30 in the morning. But she obviously called the police and whatever after. But again, she could have turned up at the property. Remember, people panic. They will try to cover their tracks and then call the ambulance. A lot of the time, they don't call for help straight away. Yeah, what do you think, Diddy?
Of course you did. Of course you covered the tracks. Of course you did. You know, the stupid part about it, her social media left a footprint. And the footprint was her advertising her tickets, telling her, you know, she probably went on Snap. She went on all of them. And
all of them.
This child was dead. This child was dead. She's a child herself. There was no support. So her stupid ass sister turning round now and saying she had support is BS.
Yeah.
So I hope they all can sleep well now. This child is dead.
A 20-month-old child to die of starvation. Like,
I don't know.
How long had she how long had she not been feeding her? How many times has she done it before?
We don't know that. Like, this case was she hasn't even been sentenced yet. So,
but Mr. B, what was the child's father like? Did this mention
it doesn't
anything about
say
the
much
father?
details about it. All I know, I remember hearing about this case vaguely when it happened, but because it come back to court, they've got more detail. Remember, they don't talk about this stuff unless when it goes to court, it's more detail that comes out, isn't it? Because they're working on the case, aren't they, at the time? So, I mean, they said the child died from hunger and then ended up getting a fever and died from neglect. So she obviously tried to deny it, but after the evidence, I mean, any solicitor will say to you, you're going to have to plead something because this is the evidence. We can see you haven't fed this child and left her unattended for 6 days. And the crazy thing is, none of the neighbors heard this child. It's sad. Like, nobody heard anything. Somebody could have saved that child if they heard, I'm sure.
Maybe the child was conditioned not to cry, not to scream. You know,
I don't know.
Think about abuse cases that are so extreme. You have to think, like, what did the poor little child go through? You know, like, you can train a kid to do anything or not do anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, it's disgusting to me because, like, the whole thing, it keeps playing out. Like, Casey Anthony did the same thing with Kaylee. You know what I mean? It's this disgusting pattern. Every so often, one of them comes to light. I'm sure that there's more cases that we don't hear about.
Yeah.
You know, like
no, there's plenty. Just this
there's
one, I
plenty
thought,
of
you know what,
cases.
let me speak about these little type. I'm gonna try and talk about these type of cases more. The things that happen in the local, you know what I mean? It's very interesting just to get even young people, you know what I mean? Be aware of who your friends are. Be aware of where you leave your kids. We say this all the time, like just be safe, because you know she clearly left her child, but there's plenty of cases where it's accidental, you know what I mean, and you didn't mean for these things to happen to your child. So you, regardless of anything, you just gotta be careful and take care. But these type of cases with this particular girl, 100%, you know, egotistical people who want to be on Instagram and internet famous, and you know they worry more about likes than they do feeding their own baby. You know, look at her, makeup is beat, everything's done, but you left your child for 6 days to go celebrate your 18th birthday.
To be honest, I do not like to watch, or I used to start watching those documentaries and I stopped because that does make my heart feel so heavy, to be honest, Mr. Leah. Like, because you're thinking about maybe if that's your cousin or your niece or maybe your daughter or your son, and like you sometimes you start to wonder like what really is going on in people's heads. That you seeing like you normal, and you know you would protect a child, you would look after a child, but those people just do not care, and that is just alarming that people do that kind of stuff. It's really alarming, and I really don't know what really is the cause of it. Maybe it can be maybe because of the background they came from, the lifestyle, the home they came from when they was growing up. But sometimes you have to wonder, where does that issue start? Where does it stem from that you have to get into that point where they become an adult and they become an adult that's just not ready to be an adult, or they like mentally, it seems like something is definitely wrong with them mentally.
And I'm sorry, but people need to stop blaming what happened to them when they were 3 years old for their actions as an adult.
Yeah,
you are an adult.
I agree.
You are making adult decisions. You are living an adult life. And yet you still keep blaming mommy and daddy because they didn't buy you an ice cream when you were 4 years old. I'm sick of it. These people need to be held accountable. And until our society as a whole starts holding them accountable for everything and stops blaming these Darwinistic, you know, like all this stuff, like, oh, this trauma from when you were really young, why didn't you work through it? We all have trauma from being young. We all have something that we could have done that could have been done better with us. It is every parent's God-given right to mess you up in some way, shape, or form, as long as they're not hurting you. You know, like all the time it happens, and it doesn't excuse the behavior. The behavior is disgusting.
No,
you
it doesn't.
A big woman, you wanted to, you know, spread your legs. You wanted to have a baby. You wanted to play this. Oh, I'm sorry. When she didn't become, you know, when she was more than a cute little accessory, she became inconvenient. Then now you don't want to feed her.
No, Leslie, sometimes I just wonder sometimes, Leslie, like where does the issue stems from? Like, was it bad up? Because sometimes you have to wonder what would make somebody do that. Like, was it bad upbringing? I'm not saying because of the bad upbringing they should do that, but sometimes for me, I just wonder what really did they go through in life, or what transpired, or what happened to them that would make you want to just neglect a child. And everybody start off as a child and become adults. So I just wonder sometimes, where does it stem from?
You know, it stems partly from that, and I think it actually stems from us as a society, that we keep people and letting them get away. And we say, "Oh, poor you! Oh, you poor thing! You should have never gone through that." I understand it's hard. Yeah, life is hard.
Yeah. If they honestly, if they gave people life, like Casey Anthony and people like that, I think it would, in the long run, be what's it called? Turn up your sound, Leslie.
Oh, sorry.
Turn up your sound a little bit. You sound a little low.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was I saying? I lost my thought there.
No, you were just saying it's just a bit. What is?
No, they should get life. Is what
right,
that was
life,
completely not what I was saying, but okay.
But how many? So the court case is not done yet, right?
No. The sentence is not been sentenced yet. I've literally been looking it up today.
So how long you think they'll give her then? she won't get life?
She pled guilty.
Not here in the UK. Not here in the UK. It don't work like that. Sometimes you can get a natural life sentence, which is like what you call life over there, which you more than likely will never get out. But
right, so she's remanded. Yeah. Oh, sorry, she's remanded in custody. She's due to stand trial later this year. So and she's accepted. Her plea was accepted, so she pleaded guilty to manslaughter. Right, and they accepted her plea, but remember, it's been COVID, so everything's been pushed back for the past year. So this child died December 2019. So think about it. We went into lockdown March 2020, didn't we? So that was within 4 months. So as soon as she got arrested, she was probably waiting for her case to go to court, because you don't go to court that quick with that type of case. They're going to have to look into her, aren't they, for a bit, and investigate what actually happened with this child and get all the evidence.
She's been arrested for torture.
Yes, because she was seen partying in Coventry, in London, in Birmingham. She went from city to city. I mean, she went 150 miles all around.
Yeah, it was
for 6 days. Yeah, while this child was dying and crying and longing for her. Like, it's disgusting.
And then she at a home wasn't she at a home for young mothers, young unwed mothers?
Yeah,
like she couldn't find somebody to leave that child with.
No, it don't work like that, Leslie. It don't work like that.
See, the girl was living, actually, sorry, more detail. She was living in a YMCA. It was a young family's place for young mothers with children. Now, the staff at the unit said they called the police after they saw the CCTV footage following the baby's death. The child was under child protection plan, but there was no social worker assigned when she died. So again, it's failings of the system, isn't it? Like, they know this child had problems. They know this girl was more worried about her makeup, you know what I mean? And looking a certain way for internet rather than looking after her own child.
Do you remember that story of that YouTuber that, like, she went on YouTube and she, like, basically threw a brush or something at her kid because her kid messed up, like, a Jeffree Star palette or something?
That's disgusting.
Yeah, she, like, beat her kid on a live stream because her kid messed up her eyeshadow.
That's disgusting.
Like, this is what we're building. Like, can we stop? And these people need to be held accountable. Make an example out of a few of them, and I promise you the rest of them won't do it. But whether that means you're not going to have a child that you can't take care of. But I don't have kids for the simple fact that I know I'm too selfish.
No, but it's not about you being selfish, Leslie. You know right from wrong. If you when you babysat your niece or nephew, did you say, okay, I'm off to the club for a couple of nights? Because you're not going to do that. It's not about birthing a child. The reality is over here, which my mom has just told me because she sat here with me. They are monitored. Those places are monitored. So the staff they're in as much trouble as she is, if not, because they are also capable. They should have been monitoring who's coming in and out. There's no way they did not know this girl was out. They've turned a blind eye. Probably she's a feisty girl, runs her mouth a little bit, and she's a bit standoffish. That fast mouth they can have at that age. I mean, that's not the first time she's left this child. It's not the first time she's left this child, but the only difference is she got a little brave and she got stupid.
Yeah. No, it's just, I mean, if you was a neighbor, if you heard a child cry, what would you do?
I would break down the door and take that baby. Are you kidding me? No, you asked.
Leslie, you call the police. You call the police. You call the police right away. If you saw a child, I saw a child on my street a couple of years ago where it was wandering with no shoes on, no nothing. And I panicked and I said, show me where you live. And he walked down to the house and I realized it was my neighbor who lived 2 doors down from me. And I said to my husband, what the hell? And we waited. I told the little child, go in and get your coat, get your shoes. And we waited. And it turned out it was a case where the brother that was supposed to be looking after him went to get some sweets and never had nothing in his hand. Obviously, he was clearly bored. have been babysat, but the only reason why I never called the police and the social work, because I knew that child would go into care that same night and he wouldn't be better looked after. And I knew the mom. I knew the mom wasn't there. I knew she was out working and she left this child in the safety of a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
So I looked after him. I was still married at the time. We looked after him till he came back, and the mother knew about it, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I had my time again, if that mother didn't come back and that brother didn't come back, he would have gone into care. I have to call the police. You know, we live in a society where nobody wants to get involved, and this is why children are dying. And Miss Nabia, you said to me in the past, you get involved with friends or family members, they almost want to fight you.
Yeah.
Let them fight me as long as that baby's safe.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't know. I'm old school Brooklyn. Like, we don't play that. Like, the people down the block, there was always somebody outside watching the kids. And what that person said, whatever adult was in charge, that's what went. Like, we all trusted each other's parents, you know? Like, nobody. So, like, that whole thing. Also, like, I'm Dominican. It's a village. You know, my auntie's in
a village. Yeah. And that's why I said, where was the sister? She's here now. She's done a video on YouTube. She's claiming that because her sister was young, right? Because of her age, she's like, the government didn't really tell us what was going on. We didn't even really know about the headline, right? The police first told us that she died different the first time, like that this baby didn't die that particular way. But she says, you know, I pray to God that God reveals everything. And, you know, if my sister did do this, she'll get punished for this. But she's always had the support and blah, blah, blah. It's just excuse after excuse after excuse. Yeah. This girl used to run away from home, apparently, and always was kind of troubled, and then ended up probably getting pregnant by somebody. There's nothing here about the baby daddy. Nothing at all. It's all about her and the family. And
here in the UK, when you turn 18, the police do not have to reveal anything to you whatsoever to the family. So that bit I understand. What that sister is talking about, she's heard her sister's version. Yeah. She's heard her sister's version, and she's only going to hear her sister's version until this ever went to trial and went to court. And even though she has pleaded guilty, they are going to read out what happened and led up to this child's death. So she can talk her crap all she wants, but the fact is there is a child that died, and I don't want, you know, people to start harassing the family or, you know, wanting her to be hung, drawn and quartered, because she is technically has a mind of a child. She's a child that had a child, you know, and we do have to show mercy on her and pray for her soul and pray for this.
100%. Yeah.
But you see, Slycat is making some pretty good commentary.
Yes, very much so. Thank you, Slycat.
That thing is, society fails us. Society fails us. Sometimes our family fails us, and sometimes we just came from a very bad environment, because sometimes people are just the product of the environment they come from. But it's up to you as a young adult to change your lifestyle or change your ways. But sometimes it might take some time. Some people get it faster, some people it takes some time. But stuff like that, it's really hard to bear or swallow when you see stuff like that happens. And I just think it just teaches us a lesson. Like, I mean, everybody, like, you know, you see from that, and then most likely if you see it happen to another kid, or you see it happen to somebody, or your neighbor, or your friend, or your coworker, it will make you want to put your foot forward and step in and say, hey, this is wrong, call the cops. So it will give you the strength instead of you casting a blind eye.
You would think the staff would be more vigilant if it was a hostel. I mean, room after room after, you got security. We have a hostel. I work for a government hostel. There's security there 24/7. In the morning when we're in the office, it's the office ladies, but there's security there. So I don't understand why nobody heard this child crying, even in the night. Why didn't they hear the moans?
Those places are monitored, Miss Nabi. I'm sorry.
100%. 100%. Hence why they're saying there's going to be a separate investigation into the safeguarding committee.
I hope they all lose their jobs and end up in court, because she was a child that needed support. No matter what we think, we are, you know, we all have family members that have had children young and they're responsible. But there are people that are not responsible and need support. It's all right, this dumbass sister coming on now doing YouTube video and talking her crap. But if she did really care and love for her sister, she would have checked in on her. So where was she? Did she not check in on 6 days? But nobody checked to see where she was.
Well, she said that they lived in a different city. I don't know if that's true.
Crap.
Listen, if I'm seeing my sister on Instagram and she's here popping bottles talking about I'm 18, woo, 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 where's the baby?
Exactly.
Where is the baby?
Exactly.
The whole time? How has nobody in that family said who she left the baby with? Where's our grandchild? I mean, the granddaddy is here saying, there's a statement that he's made saying he's very sad and blah, blah. But again, where were you, granddaddy? Where were you lot when this child is being neglected by your granddaughter? You know what I mean? If you could see this child was struggling, I don't care whether she's 15 or 28, if you know that she particularly can't look after this child's needs before her own, you should have raised a flag and said, you know what, we maybe need to intervene as a family. Maybe somebody go check up on her, visit her on a day-to-day and just see how the child is, whether that child's lost weight, whether she's gaining weight, you know what I mean, as she should be. Things like that. Where has that normal care gone? Somebody could have done that without even necessarily making it a thing. You could have just popped by her house like, you right, how's the baby, whatever, and gone about your business on a regular basis without... I don't get it. That could have been done so much.
You made a really valid point. The thing that I forgot about is the fact of, you know, we all have young people that we know that live on social media. Somebody knew she wasn't she wasn't at home. Somebody said that she wasn't at home. So all those people that are now, you know, speaking up for her and all that, they all need to be, you know, feeling
held accountable in some way. 100%.
Very, very guilty because somebody knew she wasn't at her yard. No, somebody knew, and they cannot deny it. Everybody turned a blind eye, and this baby is now dead. This is the facts.
Yeah. You see, she knew a lady that left her, but it came to light when he flooded the house, and now the boy's been removed. Yeah, you see.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I'm not, listen, again, I'm not judging people who leave their kids. I've got a very responsible 9-year-old who wouldn't flood my house. I could put any money on it. So I'm not saying I would leave her at night, but if I'm popping around the corner to get a bottle of milk, which is 2 minutes, I can pop out and leave her and go and come back. Do you know what I mean? But that's my personal choice with my child because I know my child. But you, I don't know, I'm not, you know, telling you to do it. Do you know what I mean? But
she's not a year and a half old, and you.
No, I know. I was just reading the comment, you know, about the flooding and whatever. I mean, everybody knows their own child, so I don't even judge any mom that leaves their 9, 10, 11-year-old in the house if they've got to go to work or whatever. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But you know your child. If you know your child's flooding the house, no way. Don't leave them nowhere. Do you understand what I mean? You know your kid, whether they'll burn themselves, whether they're sensible, all of that. So I think that in itself is a personal choice between mom and child. But, you know.
I have a neighbor upstairs whose son is 20 years old and he's special needs, and he flooded the bathroom and knocked down the ceiling, and, you know, but he's 20, you know what I mean?
Again, but special needs.
With him. But he has somebody that stays with him. But you're not going to go into the bathroom with the 20-year-old.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, so things happen. It's not always like a neglect thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know. Like, I was a latchkey kid. Me and my best friend used to come home from school and we would hang out by ourselves till her mom got home.
Yeah.
You know, my mom was at my house. We didn't go to my house because we wanted to hang out by ourselves. We were cool. I don't know. I think that now, like, kids don't do a lot of things that we took for granted when we were young.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, you know, kids have become an accessory to some people. If I'm 17, 18, like what you said, did I hear you right when you said when the baby's new, It's cute. You're taking pictures. You're posing. Yeah, you're posing with the baby. Oh, this is my child. But when, you know, life gets real, and now it's routine has to come into it, and real food's got to be made, not bloody potted food that you get from the supermarket. You lazy. So, actually, I shouldn't say that. I'm not judging, ladies. I'm not judging. I'm just all for boiling up your potatoes and your carrots and doing it at home. I don't believe in the processed food.
I know that, but you know, processed food aside, this is about the fact that this child never had support to look after her child.
Yeah.
You know? And I really hope
I agree.
She gets an education. When she does her time in jail, she gets an education, and she educates other young girls on what not to do. Because this is a lesson that we all need to look at. We all need to start looking outside of our homes, you know, and saying, you know, I haven't seen her with the baby. I haven't seen such and such with the baby. Let me just check. You know, it doesn't matter if the girl's going to yam your head off and curse you out, but check. You know, there's people out there, there's agencies out there that will check for you. You know, make an anonymous call, speak to someone. At least, you know, your conscience is clear enough to say you reported it.
Yeah.
But you know what? At the same time, she had the support available to her. She just chose not to take it.
Not necessarily, Leslie. Not necessarily.
She lives in a place that was for young mothers, for young families. I'm sure that they had services available had she asked.
No,
yes, 100%. 100%.
She had services available, but if she's a mother that wants to go out and party, they're not going to say, yeah, go ahead. What time are you coming back? No, they're not going to do that. There were services available to help her manage the baby. The services are not available for her to go take her backside and
so maybe she wouldn't have made those decisions.
No, they wouldn't have allowed her to go out and do that. They wouldn't. Sorry, Dee, what was you going to say?
No, I was just saying, do you think when that situations like that happen, do you think those people should be rehabilitated, or should they just be locked up for life?
No, rehabilitated. She didn't take any weapon and destroy this child. This was sheer neglect by a child. Remember, she has a mind of a child. She has a mind of a child. We cannot just throw her away, you know, and forget about her and then on to the next, because this is going to keep happening. You know, we need to educate our young people. For the sex education at school is not enough. You know, we need to be, you know, I'm mum and dad to my children. And if I don't speak to my oldest child, he's not going to know. He's not going to know how to treat women. He's not going to conduct himself right. And he's not going to know how to be treated. You know, so when they're going out there and shooting up the club, as Miss Ablavli would say, you know, you need to recognize, listen, you're going to end up with a kid at the end of it. Yeah. And it's hard work. It's not all about designer shoes and, you know, putting the kid on social media. The reality is, when you want to go out and enjoy yourself, you've got to think about this child.
Yeah, no, and another thing, actually, Slycat is reading my mind this evening, talking about the baby daddy, baby mama thing. Listen, that was never an aim of mine. I was married and divorced now. I never wanted to have kids with just for the sake of just to have kids with you, and that's it. You better marry me before we have children. This is not no, let's just ride along and do it. And if babies come along, let's just, you know, willy-nilly, we're having babies left, right, and center. This is the problem. A lot of the time, these young girls nowadays, they're happy with breeding babies for no reason, not knowing this person, not having no relationship, not having no commitment off of nobody, right? And then they want to lay down and produce babies that really, in the end, have no sense of family unit. They don't even know where daddy is half of the time. So they don't even know what the meaning is of a family unit. So they'll do it all over again, having babies here, there, and everywhere. That's the type of stuff I really can't deal with. Like, you have to try and teach your kids these morals, especially as young girls. Try and commit yourself to somebody. And if a person don't want to commit to you, why are you having babies with somebody? Like, for real. You can't be having babies with men who are not willing to marry you.
I agree with you, because that's why I don't have a child. I am not married, and I've never been married. So I always growing up as a child, my mother instilled that in me. So for me, the only way I'll have a child is if I get married. I've had opportunities where I did girls and they're like, oh, let's have a child, let's have a child. But then after we have a child, what comes after that? We're not married. Exactly. We're not living together. What comes after that?
I don't know. As far as like the whole rehabilitation stuff and all that stuff, I think that she does get rehabilitated, which I think that's a very big if, because I'm sorry, like
I am loving
of you having done what you is, you know, that's going to be a lot to get over. But if she does have another child one day, she needs to be looked at under a microscope 24/7.
Yeah.
That's
it. I agree. I agree. But go on, Ablavi. What do you think?
Okay, I wasn't going to call in, but I just feel like, even though I don't agree with what she did, my whole thing is we can't act like Casey Anthony didn't do the same thing, and she was a full-grown woman. She said, Leslie, you're on mute.
I said that's what I said.
She did the same thing, and with her it's even worse because she went on trial for that and lied about allegedly killing her child and said that her father did it and that he sexually abused her.
Right.
Like, she took down her whole family.
with the crime, the whole family. Go on.
She said that her father used to her and that her mother was fine with it. She took down the whole family. She went through the heck.
But we're American. We do everything bigger than the Brits.
No, but if you look at teenagers, this is nothing new. You know, there's a ton of kids that they throw in the trash. They have the child. They throw it in the toilet. There's so many foolish things these kids do with these children. Now, I blame everybody because. But then it's the thing. It's a two-way street because I want to blame the parents.
You're welcome, FM. Thanks for watching. Go on.
At what point do we say you're an adult? At what point do we say, no, you just have to do better? Because once you have a child, you are technically no longer a child. If you have a child at 12, you're an adult at 12. It's unfortunate, but that's the game.
You got to step up. Simple.
Well, no, I think where the family comes in is because when these girls don't want to raise these children, y'all need to understand that. Y'all need to stop making these girls raise these children they don't want to raise. Adoption, or is a choice. She didn't want to raise. She wanted to party. She wanted.
That's true. Adoption is a choice, and again, I think adoption is so not favored, is it? When you give away your own child, it's not favored by everybody. So I think maybe did she feel like she just had to leave the child at home because she had to just deal with it that way, rather than actually holding her hands up and saying, I don't want this child of mine and I'm going to give it away. Do you understand what I mean? Because actually doing that carries so much more shame within family, within society, within friends, everything.
But remember, she was the baby would have been a very cute accessory. You only have to look on social media. I got a 12-year-old and she shows me the new baby mamas, and the baby's got a cute outfit on looking like the mommy. Children sporting children. It's like a Louis Vuitton handbag. You're going to get one. Everybody's going to support one. But the fact is, this girl was a child. Nobody monitored this child. Everybody coming out in support of her. The child is dead. The child is dead. Own up and tell the truth why she wasn't supported. Tell the truth.
Yeah, exactly. Why wasn't she supported? For the sister to come out and try to make excuses about that we didn't really know how this child died, and we didn't know this, and we didn't.
Family. Look at Dre.
Of course it does. Of course it does. The child is dead now. Who cares what looks bad on the family?
But this happened with Dre on Basketball Wives. She sat there and left her child in the house with feces and all this stuff, and got her child taken away from her. And she was like 26 when this happened. She did the exact same thing. Went to go party, went to go get a baller, and left her baby at home. Now the child was old enough to cook and clean for itself, but
how long did she leave the child?
She left. I have to go back on the police report, but I know she has a police report on this and she lost her child. And then the thing about it is, where is the father? Because you're not going to have my child and leave my child at home and I not do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. It's probably, listen, the way this girl was partying in 3 different cities at the time, she was laying it out. So we don't even know does she even know who the baby daddy is? And does he even want to claim her? We don't know this, because a lot of the time, after a man finds out what type of woman you are, some men just turn their back and go about their business and won't even recognize you or acknowledge the fact that you've got their child.
And remember, Mr. Dia, he won't even be a man. He'll be another child like her.
Exactly. He probably won't be much older. Yeah.
He'll be sporting all the gear. He'll be on social media. And he'll be blocking it out with the rest of her friends.
Listen,
the fact is, she was in distress. She never had the support.
A man. And see, men, y'all gonna get mad at me today. If you are a man and you don't want children, you have a vasectomy. If you don't have a vasectomy, you want children. So I don't want to hear this. Oh, she kept it in. I don't want to hear this. Oh, it's not my child. If you sleep with somebody and you don't have a vasectomy, there's always a possibility it is your child. And as a man who does not want children, it is on you to make sure. I don't care if it's castration. I don't care what religion you are. If you do not want children, you make it so that you don't have children. Women who don't want to have children, get their tubes tied. Like, I'm tired of this.
It's true. I agree. If you don't want to have kids, you sure don't have to have them.
To be fair, though, women who don't have children, it's very difficult for you to actually get somebody to consent to get your tubes tied.
You mean a man that you're with, you mean? Or
no, like a doctor. Like if you're 18,
tie your tubes if you don't have kids.
Oh, really? They recommend you to not do it. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Unless you have one. But there are doctors who don't care. And if you have the right amount of money, they'll do it.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that. But that's good. At least they give you a chance, I suppose, to make a wise decision.
But I'm telling to all men, and y'all can quote me on this and get mad.
No, 100%. And young men need to stop thinking they can bust up in there and not marry this girl when she gets pregnant. Like, get some self-respect. These young men, if you've got sons, you need to teach your sons that if you dare to get somebody pregnant out of wedlock, you better know that's you for life if you're going to commit to this child. Simple. And they'll be scared because the prospect of being with this one girl for life, if you're 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, maybe even up until you're 30, it's not a thought that any young man wants to think about. So I think if you raise your sons more with that mentality of, I'm in it now and I'm stuck if this mistake happens, then it would be more of a heavier burden to carry, wouldn't it? Rather than making everybody feel like, yeah, I can just go in bareback. Here in the UK, they like to say bareback. What the hell? What you barebacking? I'm not a horse. What do you mean you're barebacking?
They say that in the Caribbean too. They say that in the Caribbean as well.
Disgusting. Like, I cannot.
Look, they say that in the Caribbean as well. They say, boy, I went bareback. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
that's
a Caribbean saying.
But yeah, this is the issue. And for her family, this is fortunate. But you know what? And another thing, because I've already got some people mad, this is another thing. Yeah. You are on child support not because you are a man. You are on child support because you are being reckless in these streets and having children. And I don't want to hear for 2021, don't come to me. I don't care if you're making $40,000 a year. I don't care if it's half your paycheck. I don't care if you making $20,000 a year. Let me tell you something. You could sell your pussy on every corner, every street in this world.
Here we go. You just couldn't resist. You just couldn't resist.
If you can't do it legally, you gotta do it illegally. And I don't want to hear no excuses because the streets is always knocking.
You are hilarious. You just had to, didn't you?
Bust it down.
But like it's okay for like baby mama to go.
Thanks, FM. I appreciate it.
It's okay for mom to go work a pole because baby needs to eat, but it's not okay for a man to sell his pussy. Come on.
Yeah. But no, I mean,
rights, right?
Yes.
I
Can we
played the fifth on this one.
181. So if that's 181 an hour, let's say 200. Then 5 hours, you got 1,000 for the week. No taxes. I'm just saying.
No, 100%. Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think it's.
I mean, then again, maybe that's a good question to ask. Do you think it encourages you to get active though, if you start taking contraception at 16? Like, I don't know if I would want to give my daughter contraception at 16. Me personally.
What about education? What about education?
No, education is one thing, but I wouldn't be giving her contraception because that's me saying. That's me saying you can go and have sex, and I don't want her to have sex.
Not necessarily, not with your education. You got to understand, look, I'm in a situation where I've got young people living in my house, my young children. And even though they think they're grown, I said this conversation today, my son, you don't know what you're going to do in a situation. As much as I'm educating and telling you not to do this, do it that way. When you are there in that situation, you might think, you know what, I'm in love. Go for it. And they love everyone. They love everyone, within a month, whatever.
Well, for me, you see, with that question, I'm not going to tell nobody how to raise the kid, right? I'm not going to tell nobody that. But if you feel that as a parent at 16, you want to introduce your child to contraceptives, it's fine. But I'm not judging anybody. But for me, I would not introduce my child to contraceptives at 16. I'll wait until maybe at least you're around 18, 17, 18 for the most, and then I would talk to you about sex.
And Ablavi, don't you dare! I see your face.
I would talk to you about sex from very young age.
Ablavi, say it.
Listen, y'all are crazy as hell. They busted wide in middle school.
I knew she was gonna say they're out here at 12 years old and whatever.
12 years old.
Listen, they are out here at 12, they're out here at 11. But you know what? Mine ain't gonna be out here at 11 and 12. Let me tell you that.
No me.
To each their own. But mine,
I would rather a person be on contraception than you being a teen mom. That's not an option for me. I can't be a grandmother with a 16-year-old with a baby. Like, no. You have birth control.
The option is keep your legs closed is the damn option. You ain't doing it. You're not doing it. You're just not doing it.
That's
simple.
But it's education. It's education, everyone.
No, education. I'm all for it. Knowledge is power. 100%.
But you have to be realistic. And I'm sorry, you have to be realistic.
No, Ablavi, nobody ain't doing that at 16. So you need to stop trying to push this.
Listen.
You see, that's the attitude that's killing people. You need to be realistic. You need to. No. Let me just be real, right? Let me be real and explain myself.
Ablavi's right. Ablavi's got a point.
No, listen, I do not agree.
I'm not. Miss Nabia, I know for a fact in your culture,
I refuse, Ali. I absolutely refuse. No point.
You're gonna get your ass bust.
Don't make me drop you, Ali. Do not.
But Ablav is right. But me,
no,
I get my ass bust. I'm too frightened to do anything like that. You mad?
To be fair,
I don't
what
agree.
worked for me, and I know that like not everybody was raised this way, but I had an aunt. I stayed off of drugs because what did she do? Every time we were driving somewhere, she'd be like, "Oh, you see that guy over there, all decrepit, hanging all to? Oh yeah, he's on heroin. Oh, you see that lady over there? Oh yeah, she's like all zonked out. Look at her, she ain't got no teeth. She's on crack." It kept me off of drugs. Why? Because I'm a very vain individual, and she played on that. Yeah. Also, when I started seeing in sex ed the pictures of what venereal diseases, STDs can do to you. That scared the living daylights out of me. And I was like, no way, I don't want that. I don't need that. Keep that over there.
Yep, thank you. Very good. Thank you. I'll take that tip, actually. I'll be using flashcards of gonorrhea and shit.
Okay.
Just all day long. All day long.
I know you don't want to hear this, right? But just because a child is on contraception doesn't mean she would have sex. And
She's right.
What I will
But remember, Ablavi, contraception messes up with your hormones. I'm a grown-ass woman and I don't like to take them. So you saying to put my 16-year-old child on there, it's a lot to consider, because I want her hormones and her chemical balance to have a normal, you know what I mean? Like have a good balance, rather than using these chemicals to balance her out, because they do affect your mood. They do take a while to work out your system.
For contraception as well. This is not something new. If you want to do the natural remedy, you are fine by doing that. But the problem is when you say to a child, you're not going to have sex, you're going to end up with a child that's going to have sex, because the hoes didn't get pregnant in high school. It was the nice girl that slept a peen one time. The hoes weren't.
You know what?
What about those girls? And what about those girls? Let's talk about.
I hate you right now. I swear to God.
In my school.
No,
she just Didi. She just kills it, doesn't she? Like, just no hope. There's no hope for our children out here.
Listen, I'm not saying that. I'm saying what you raise in a child will carry through with her. But if she comes to you and says, "Hey, mom, are you even ready?" If she comes at 16 and say, "I'm ready to have sex," what do you do? No, she's still gonna have it.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Yeah, definitely. So you gotta talk to them. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but
you gotta talk to your child.
Look, you have to have that relationship or that connection with your child, where your child can tell you certain things, because it's how you raise your kid. That's how I see it. There are boundaries, there are rules, and I mean, obviously, it's not everything they would tell you. But you have to make your child feel comfortable enough to come and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that, I might do this, I might do that."
Yeah.
And you can caution them. That's all you can do. But then you still have to raise them in a way that you know when you talk to them, they might, like Leslie said, the STDs, the pictures, sex education, it might not always work, but you still need to have that connection and relationship with your child, where your child can come to you and just tell you.
Very powerful motivator. That's all I have to say.
Yes.
Awareness.
Exactly.
Awareness, definitely.
You would be surprised how some things do not turn a child away from doing what the hell they like.
Exactly.
It's all about having that rapport with him. Because look, Didi, you probably grew up in the same era as me, where your mom could only look at you and you were terrified.
Exactly.
But we're not growing up in a world where we look at our children and they're terrified because they're looking back at you.
Oh, my niece
like they've got no sense.
I promise you that.
Yeah, but you grew up in that, Leslie. But you grew up in that world. These children these days are not like that. If you do not speak to your children, somebody else will speak to them. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I don't know. I was always I always had those uncomfortably close relationships with my mom. My mom, my aunties, they were like, I was always that kid that said a little too much, where my cousin would be like, "Stop it. You're going to get us in trouble." And I'd be like, "But why? Why are we going to get in trouble? No, we're going here. We're going there, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we're going to go have drinks at this place with these people, like, why? Why hide it?" I don't know.
Okay, so I have a question for Didi. Are you going to be saying if you had a 16-year-old son and he says, "Hey, I want to have sex," are you going to be like no to him too?
Hell yeah. What the hell you having sex at 16 for you to bring a grandchild for me? Hell no. I'll tell you, I'm not going to encourage. Like I say, you see when they turn 18, when they turn 18, they can do whatever they want because they're young adults. But 16, 17, boy or girl, you're not going to bring no child for me. Sorry.
No,
but no. Your old nephew, he's still stupid. No.
Listen,
no.
I realize we're living in this fairy tale world, but we have to be realistic and say it's a possibility. 16-year-olds listen, there are girls that are 16 that are pros at it. They do things.
Of course, they're out here on the streets. We know that. But at the same time, I'll be telling mine, listen, do you really want to go all through that for a 2-minute? That's all it's going to be. A 2-minute. A 2-minute. Yeah, baby. And that's it. That's it. It's a 2-minute moan and groan,
you need to
right?
Be careful with, because then you could have a child that's the opposite way and feels like sex is wrong. And so when they get older.
No, see, now you're just taking it to the extreme. Why can there not just be a balanced kid that actually respects her body and his body and thinks, you know what? let me just wait, because all I'm saying is at 16, you don't know what you want. So more than anything, as a woman, look, I've been there. I was maybe one of the later ones, maybe 17 or 18, but still then, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Was it worth it? No, because I didn't know what the hell was going on. So in that sense, it's just a thing that when I think back now, if my mom had sat me down and said, you know what, this thing actually would mean something if you waited with somebody you actually cared about, rather than, you know, and my mom didn't do that. So maybe that would make a difference. You see, Ablavi, you're just on one today, because
no, because you're looking at it as an adult and not as a 16-year-old. When you talk about this, you got to look at it as the 16-year-old Nabia. You got to look at it as you wanting freedom. You got to look at it as this is my body. You got to look at it, yeah, I'm in love. You're looking at it with life experience.
Listen, I remember I had a boyfriend at 16 and we never even had sex. All we ever did was kiss, and it was lovely. I think I dated him for about 6 months to 10 months, and it was nice. Like, that's the only relationship I actually remember.
Miss Nabia, you got to be realistic. The most you could do was kiss, because you would get your head literally on a you cannot reach that to no one.
I used to go to his house, stuff like that. So it wasn't even a thing. Like, if my family is watching this now or watch this after this is the first they're hearing about it. So this will be a shock.
And you know
what I mean?
Watching, that's why you're preaching. You're telling that.
I will tell you.
Mr. Bia, don't take the bait from the alley. The alley trying to bait you.
Listen, I'm about to drop her, so don't worry.
Because I got teased because I hadn't done anything yet, and so I got.
That's hilarious. No, but you know, it's good to have a little open discussion and find little new things about each other. You know what I mean? It's good to have little. Yeah, it's nice, man. I like it.
No, it's good to know Miss Nabia's family's watching and she's on her soapbox.
You know what? D. Ali, you are on one today, I swear.
Listen, it is what it is. But I think I'll just say being realistic 2021, because it's just going to get worse. It just is. We're going to look at WAP in 10 years and say, oh my God, that was so clean compared to what's out now.
Hello.
Listen, I'm telling you now, Dee may remember this. We had a DJ when I was growing up called Shabba Ranks. WAP ain't got nothing on the DJs that I grew up with. Yeah. And it was exactly. If you think WAP was nasty, you want to be growing up in my day. And it's only because my mom is here, Dee, where I have to keep it clean.
Diali, don't even talk about patch up and the kiss.
Oh, she laughed.
Yeah. She just said something. All I heard was bye. It's fine. But yeah, no, it was. Listen, all I know is like all you can do is try to teach your kid to respect themselves. Oh, somebody's double. Is that you, Dee? To respect themselves, I think. But it was a good topic tonight. What did you guys think?
Yeah, it was sad.
It's sad, but
of course it's sad, but
it was a good discussion.
It was a great discussion, but
thanks guys for
coming. These
are
going to keep happening. These things are going to keep happening, unfortunately.
They are. Yeah. But you know, it's better to talk about it. The more we talk about it, the more people may recognize the signs or stuff like that.
You know
like what? Even if you have a neighbor, we all have neighbors, you know, just be more aware and vigilant. Like, just look around. Maybe you'll notice a neglect kid. Maybe you'll notice a child losing weight, like, rapidly. You know what I mean? Me, when I take my daughter, I mean, these days I don't even get as far as the school gate because she tends to kind of do her own thing, and you know, but I notice which kids, you know, and I ask my daughter, like, listen, that kid, you know, I've noticed like her coat's always too small. Why is her coat always above her wrist, you know, like there, and it's winter time, things like that I notice, and I'm like, are they all right? But not that I'm going to the school to tell them that child's neglected, but I'm just saying,
you're keeping an eye.
Caring people, a little bit of kindness goes a long way. You know what I mean? It's not even about the adults. Let's care about the next generation and just be more aware of each other. That's all.
Yeah. I hope my final words on this, I hope she does get this help and support even now. And I know everybody's going to be gunning for her, but she is still a child, and I'm going to keep saying it, and I know I'm going to be hated for it. She's still a child. I hope she gets the support, and I hope this is a lesson for anybody out there that ignores the warning signs.
Yeah.
You saw this
100%.
young girl on social media and you all ignored her. Please pay attention to your neighbor. Be kind to each other, please.
Yeah. Instead of clicking like on her post, maybe wonder where she left her kid next time. You know what I mean?
Had a kid. Everybody.
Or anybody. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm sorry.
But thank you guys for watching. Oh, sorry, Leslie, go on. I forgot.
Sorry, I don't think that most people that were like liking her posts and stuff really realized that she had a kid.
No, I mean, I'm sure she had a lot of people that knew her. You know what I mean? That's all. Yeah.
Yeah.
DD.
But yeah, Ali, shout out your channel. If you guys know DD anyway, DD758. He usually does the 90 days and stuff like that. Married at First Sight.
Yeah,
so,
DD.
Yeah, check him out.
Oh, yeah, and I started doing ready to love. I
saw that.
Yeah, every Saturday. So it's a really good show. But my
check it
thing
out,
on that
guys.
is
Ready to love.
like Ali said, just basically we just have to just Miss Nabia said, be aware and don't play a blind eye. Society has a lot to play, the system has a lot to play, but we need to play our role basically. We just need to play our role as people in society and then try and just help with those situations that we help prevent it as well.
Yeah, 100%. But thanks guys for watching today. I know it was kind of a somber topic, but it was still good conversation. We had a bit of a laugh. I mean, prayers go to that little girl and her family, Asiah, at 20 months old. I mean, she didn't deserve that. But thanks, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. And next couple of days, probably I'll be back with another topic. So keep your eye out. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. So thanks for the support.
Take care. Bye.
Hold on. On 3.